And we are back. I do apologise for the interruption. Last video, I had to leave the premises. Okay, so back to the presentation. I have to say, I mainly used the conceptual frameworks for this. I didn't find many use for theories during this project, so there wasn't much of a point analysing them, and whenever I did attempt to analyse a theory, they were easily disproven. However, I did use a lot of concepts, like you can class a musical element as a concept, such as offbeats, crash cymbal hits, accents, and things like that. Okay, so we're back to intelligent dance music. Now, intelligent dance music is a subgenre which has the combined elements of house, techno, glitch hop, and ambient music. Now, the reason why it's classed as a fusion subgenre, despite the fact that it's all EDM, is because it combines the elements of all these genres together. It combines the disorientated sound of glitch and the kind of bounciness of house and techno, if you like, but it is primarily an ambient genre. Like, you can hear this quite clearly. Hold on. Forgive me for the advert. So you can tell straight away it's a very passive sounding kind of ambience to the music. Some very disoriented sounds there, that's some glitch influences. Very compressed drum beat. I suppose you can class that as glitch as well, because that's not quite a product of, that compressed drum beat isn't quite a product of house and techno. I suppose you can call that over compression a product of glitch hop. However, the type of beat it does sort of relate to house music. And what's interesting about this piece is that your ears expect it to kind of come to you. Expect the beat to sound normal again, but it doesn't really do that. It kind of beats your expectations. So it has a lot more in common with glitch hop, I think. It does have some bouncy elements with house and techno, where you could easily play at a nightclub or something like that. And yeah, that's my evaluation of intelligent dance music. Okay, now we have jazz fusion. This is essentially a jazz subgenre that takes influence from other genres such as funk, rock, and R&B. The way how this is created is that it uses the jazz harmony like structure, and it uses like kind of instrumentation and the rhythm section from another one. So if we put down just here, I've already done a bit of this already, but here's a bit of jazz rock. Okay, so that's jazz rock. And you can also get jazz funk. This one's a pretty good example.
Are you totally ready? Try Colgate Total Proof. It turns blue as it fights bacteria.
So it's very smooth and it's very melodic, but it's got that syncopation to the beats. Very rhythmic. That's quite enough of that. But you understand, like, there's a lot of rhythmic elements from funk there. Like, the beat is not calm at all. It's very uninterrupted, but it's very syncopated and very out there and in your face. And it does bring a lot of elements of funk to that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about some artists now. The reason why I call these minor examples is that they predominantly have one genre. However, they take influences from other ones. Okay. So Radiohead are a globally recognized band for their experimentation. What I actually found out from Pitchfork quite a while ago, which was quite interesting, is that for the making of their album Kid A, they actually took a lot of influence from intelligent dance music. There's nothing to suggest that they've taken influence from Aphex Twins or anything like that. There's no one there. It's just that they said that, they kind of used it as an element. And you can kind of tell because they kind of sort of have the same ambience, but, they've obviously got other influences out there too. And quite honestly, I thought it would have been the other way around. But, I was proven wrong. So if we just sort of... Okay, so this song is called Kid A. Very IDM, very glitch-like. So as you can tell, there's some similarities there. It does have the same backdrop, and there is like a lot of effects in the background to make it more ambient. You hear that in a lot of kind of passive EDM music, quite a lot. I just want to mention that the vocals, where they're sort of really distorted and incoherent, relates to a lot of alternative EDM out there. Like, this is a technique that is used a lot. Admittedly, it's not as doesn't sound exactly like that, but here's a little example here. Straight away you can kind of hear what I mean by how the vocal takes are very similar. It's as if the artists don't exactly want you to understand the lyrics or the vocal melody for that matter. This has more of a reverb influence rather than just over distortion, but it kind of has the same effect. Okay, so that's that. There's also other artists that do this using vocal samples. This is Clams Casino. Yep, and it seems Radiohead have taken the sort of intelligent dance music again with their latest album Moonshaped Pool, which was released in, I believe, 2015. Okay, so this one is obviously newer and it's not as kind of productionally rough, I suppose. But there's a lot of disorientation in the production side. Obviously, the vocals on this one are clean, and you can understand them. It's quite clear that they wanted the vocals to sort of direct the composition instead of it laying with the ambience of the song, so yeah, so that kind of concludes that. They've also done a very disoriented album called OK Computer, and they took a bit of influence from people like Brian Amo and Genesis. They didn't take a lot of influence from progressive music, but they've sort of mentioned they were kind of going for a progressive-like feeling in their interview in 1996, I believe, and I believe this was with Rad Eye magazine. Unfortunately, they don't exist anymore, but yeah. So, Paranoid Android is a good example. Okay, so you kind of... So yeah, very progressive feel. It's not very... That was only half of the song. And you can already tell that it's not very predictable. It's not as simple as verse, chorus, bridge, outro, and stuff like that. It's very... Like, you know, when you believe it to be calming down, it actually just hits you with that really disoriented and out of sync guitar solo, and it really surprises you. And their first album, Pablo Honey, is basically essentially their attempt of doing a pop album. I think this was released in 1994. Why am I writing Pablo Honey? So, this album probably has their most famous song in it, and this is probably, and that is Creep. I think it's got like a ridiculous, yep, nearly 300 million views.
Just like an angel, your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. It's okay for me. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice. But I'm not a
So as you can see, it clearly has a verse and it clearly has a chorus. And there's an outro and stuff like that. So it's a very predictable. So they've really taken a lot of inspiration from a lot of different sources. And here in this song, Jigsaw Falling Into Place, they've taken a bit of a different route with this. So now he basically just goes up an octave and does his vocal bit. As you can tell from that's very different from what we've heard so far. they've sort of taken a progressive route with this, but it's nowhere near as extreme. It's nowhere near kind of as rough, if you like. So yeah, they've kind of, with this song, they've kind of confused their ambient and their sort of progressive influences in this, which is cool. Okay, moving on. Let's try to make this last forever. Okay, so Ice Age, ouch, are a Danish band that started their career as a punk rock band. They made a song called "Plowing into a Field of Love," and with this one, they've taken many influences from different genres. Let's. Okay, that's just. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to be looking at 3 songs that they've done for this album. There's The Lord's Favourite, which has a country influence, Against the Moon, which has jazz, and Forever has a bit more of a ballad-like structure with it, and it has like brass and classical instrumentation here. Okay, so let's start with the first thing. You could argue that this song takes influence from circus music as well, with the marching drums and stuff like that. The way how this relates to country music is that it has, obviously chicken picking and rocking bass and stuff like that. And they managed to make the rocking bass relate to, the circus side of the music, like with the marching beat and stuff like that, which is cool. Anyway, on to the next song. Okay, let's play Against the Moon. This is the jazz influence.
Future
Okay, so we already understand why that takes a jazz element into the mix. It's much, I wouldn't say smoother because it still has a very rough sort of punk rock element to the ambience, but it is very, I wouldn't say soothing either. It's very passive, I'd say. It's not very like in your face as their second album was. It's very kind of somber. And, there's some brass instrumentation there, which kind of sounds sort of like the Temptations, but it's kind of used to make that disoriented, kind of like augmented, sort of rough sound more present. But yeah, it still kind of sounds pleasant to the ear. Okay, on to the next song. You'll probably be listening to this for a little bit longer because you need to really to understand